Marriage burnout is something no one warns you about, yet so many wives quietly live inside it every single day. So if you have ever woken up feeling tired before the day even begins, emotionally drained even though you love your husband, or guilty for wanting space when you were supposed to feel grateful, this message is for you, because marriage burnout does not mean you are weak, unloving, or failing. It means you have been giving for too long without refilling yourself. And today we are going to talk about one powerful habit that can slowly, gently, and safely bring you back to yourself without damaging your marriage, without creating distance, and without turning you into someone you are not. Imagine this for a moment. You wake up, your mind already racing with responsibilities, kids, work, meals, schedules, emotional labor, remembering what your husband likes, avoiding what upsets him, holding back your feelings so the house stays peaceful. You move through the day doing everything that needs to be done. Yet no one asks how you are really feeling. And by the time night comes, you feel empty, irritable, disconnected, and exhausted, not because marriage is bad, but because you have been operating on emotional fumes for too long. And many women think this exhaustion means they need to try harder, be more patient, be more understanding, be more loving. But the truth is, trying harder is often what creates burnout in the first place. Let me tell you about a woman named Emily. She loved her husband deeply. She supported his dreams, managed the home, stayed emotionally available, avoided conflict, and told herself this is what a good wife does. But slowly she stopped laughing the way she used to. She stopped sharing her thoughts. She stopped feeling excited about life, and one day she realized she felt numb in her own marriage, not angry, not sad, just tired, and that scared her more than anything because she did not want to lose her marriage, but she was losing herself, and this is where so many wives are. Stuck between wanting to protect their relationship and desperately needing relief. Burnout happens because marriage often turns into a place where women overfunction emotionally, meaning you are constantly managing moods, anticipating needs, fixing problems, smoothing conflicts, and carrying the emotional weight of the relationship while slowly abandoning your own inner world. Psychology shows us that when a person gives without boundaries, without pauses, and without self-connection, the nervous system goes into survival mode, which creates irritability, resentment, emotional shutdown, and distance, not because love is gone, but because the body and mind are overwhelmed. And the biggest mistake women make is believing that burnout means they need a big change, a confrontation, a dramatic boundary, or emotional withdrawal, when in reality, what heals burnout is often one small, consistent habit practiced daily. The habit that stops marriage burnout is this: daily emotional check-ins with yourself before you check in with anyone else. And this may sound simple, but it is deeply powerful, because most wives wake up and immediately tune into everyone else. What the kids need, what the husband might feel, what the day demands, but they never ask themselves, how am I feeling today? What do I need emotionally? What am I carrying inside my chest right now? And when you skip this step every day, you slowly disappear inside your own life. This habit is not selfish, it is stabilizing, because when you know how you feel, you stop leaking emotions unconsciously through toned silence or resentment, and instead you become calmer, clearer, and more grounded in your marriage. Here is how to practice this habit in a realistic way, not perfectly, not spiritually, but practically. Every morning or evening, take 5 quiet minutes, no phone, no distractions, and ask yourself 3 questions. What am I feeling emotionally right now? What drained me today? and what would help me feel even 10% better. You do not need to fix anything. You do not need to judge your answers. You simply need to listen, because listening to yourself is the first step to stopping burnout. When you practice this habit consistently, something shifts inside you. You stop expecting your husband to read your mind. You stop resenting him for needs you never named. And you stop abandoning yourself for the sake of peace. Instead, you become emotionally present without being emotionally depleted, and this is where marriage begins to feel lighter again. Once you reconnect with yourself, the next layer of this habit is choosing one small act of self-respect each day, not self-care in the Instagram sense, but self-respect, which means honoring your energy, your limits, and your truth. It might look like resting instead of forcing productivity, speaking gently but honestly instead of staying silent, or saying no without guilt. And these small acts tell your nervous system that you are safe, valued, and allowed to exist fully in your marriage. Many women fear that if they stop overgiving, their marriage will fall apart. But the opposite is true. When you stop operating from exhaustion, you bring a calmer, warmer, and more authentic version of yourself into the relationship, which naturally improves connection, communication, and trust. Another important part of stopping burnout is learning to separate responsibility from control. You are responsible for your behavior, your emotions, and your choices. But you are not responsible for managing your husband's feelings, reactions, or growth. When wives take emotional responsibility for everyone, they burn out quickly. But when you allow your husband to own his emotions while you own yours, the relationship becomes more balanced and respectful. As you practice this habit, you may notice resistance, guilt, or fear arise, especially if you are used to being the emotional glue of the family. But remember, taking care of your emotional health is not abandoning your marriage, it is protecting it, because a burned-out wife cannot create intimacy, warmth, or connection. Only survival, and survival is not the same as love. Healing from burnout is not about doing more, it is about doing less with more awareness, slowing down emotionally, honoring your limits, and giving from a place of fullness rather than obligation. If your marriage feels heavy right now, let this be your reminder that you do not need to sacrifice yourself to save your relationship. You deserve rest, presence, and emotional safety too. And when you choose to care for yourself consistently, you teach your marriage how to treat you. You are not asking for too much. You are simply asking for space to breathe. And that space is what allows love to grow again. So start today, 5 minutes, one check-in, one small act of self-respect, and watch how slowly, gently, and beautifully the burnout begins to fade. And if this message spoke to your heart, share it with another wife who might be silently exhausted. Leave a comment to let me know you are here, and subscribe for more gentle guidance on building a strong marriage without losing yourself. Because your well-being matters, and your marriage deserves the best version of you, not the most exhausted one.